Here is Mondo.
Hello there, are you a fan of Benny Hill? Well, Steeny and I took a trip to some Benny Hill locations recently, in Southampton, in Eastleigh and in London. I'm going to show you a few of the key locations from his life and death. We're starting here on Benny Hill Close. Benny Hill was actually born Alfred Hawthorne Hill, and he was born in 1924, January 1st, and he was actually born in that building just over there. Now originally it was, what did we say it was, Steeny? It was 30
Bridge Street.
30 Bridge Street originally, that location. It's now 111 Bernard Street, I think it is now. We can check. 111 Bernard Street. So that little building there without a blue plaque, without anything, is actually Benny Hill's birthplace, just there. Now, he didn't stay there very long. He stayed there just a few months, and then the whole family moved to another location, which we're about to take you to now. But there is Benny Hill's birthplace, just there. In 1924, Benny Hill and his family moved to this house here, which was originally called St Helens on Wilton Road. You can hear some crazy school kids in the background there, a little bit scary. That's the house there. It's now 162 Wilton Road, but that was the house that Benny Hill's family moved into shortly after he was born. While Benny Hill was living in Southampton, he actually went to this school here, Richard Taunton. I think it was on a different location originally. I think the original location of it has now been turned into Southampton University, but this is where Benny Hill went to school. I'll get you a better shot. I believe there's actually a plaque in there dedicated to Benny Hill. Pretty small. I couldn't get on the grounds, but I will put a photo in here. 1931, Benny moved from St Helens, where we've just been, to this house in West Row Gardens. I'm just walking down to it now, and I'll give you a shot.
You could hear the hoofbeats pound as they raced across the ground, and the clatter of the wheels as they spun round and round. And he galloped into Market Street, his badge upon his chest. His name was Ernie, and he drove the fastest milk cart in the West.
I'm in Eastleigh, stood on Hans Way, and behind me is the location of what once was Hans Dairy. Now, after Benny Hill left school, he actually worked here for a little while, and he was a milkman, and that's how he got the idea for Ernie, the fastest milkman in the West. There's actually a plaque on the wall. I'll take you over and show you it. It's just over here.
Now Ernie loved a widow, a lady known as Sue. She lived all alone in Lily Lane at number 22.
When he worked at the dairy, he lived down this road, the Nook behind me. I'll take you down and show you his house. That's Benny's house there, number 8. He didn't live there very long, but he lived there while he was working at Eastleigh Dairies, which is now demolished. Benny Hill worked for ITV for 20 years and was let go. I think some of his comedy aged a little badly. Seeing Benny chasing after young girls in bikinis wasn't for everybody's taste in the early 90s. So he's let go from ITV without even a pat on the back. He was very, very disappointed. Ended up staying in these apartments here, or these flats here as we'd say in England. Very rarely going out. And then in 1992, his neighbours said that they hadn't heard from Benny in a couple of days. They could hear his TV blaring for, several days from his apartment, from his flat. So the police came round, knocked on the door, no answer. They could smell something a bit funny. They went in, they found Benny's body in his armchair in front of the TV. In fact, I've seen a photo online. I'll try and put it in here, the inside of his flat. Looks a bit like that. So Benny had been sat there for ages in front of the telly, and they found him with piles of money all around him, uncashed cheques. He was getting all this money, he didn't know what to do with it. So kind of interesting. That was his apartment there, that was his flats up there. Don't know which one it is, it's number 7, so it could have been one of the top ones, I would imagine, up there somewhere. There you go. One interesting story was around the same time, Frankie Howard, famous comedian Frankie Howard, passed away. And Benny Hill actually gave a statement about Frankie Howard, saying how much he had liked him. The thing was, that came from Benny Hill's manager. Benny Hill was already dead when Frankie Howard died. They didn't know it. They hadn't discovered his body yet. So this statement comes out from Benny Hill, not him at all. Interesting. The Scott Michaels shot of the postbox. That would have been Benny Hill's postbox just there. And the entrance to his house here. We've just come along about literally 3 minutes along the road from Benny Hill's flat, and this would have been Thames TV Studios. This is where Benny Hill filmed all of his shows, and he bought his apartment literally 3 minutes away just because it was walking distance to the studios. So, yep, this is where Thames TV used to be. It's now, I don't know what it is now, a block of flats. But you can see a little blue disc up on the wall there that's dedicated to Teddington Studios, just there.
That'll do.
Okay, we're back in Southampton for the final stop of the tour, and it's Benny Hill's final resting place, which is here in the Hollingbrook Cemetery. He's buried just here. So come and have a look. There's lots of sort of, what would you call this, trinkets? No,
Yeah, it says tributes and...
Tributes, lots of tributes left here, yeah. He's still very popular. As you can see there, a little milk float, a little reference to Ernie, the fastest milkman in the West. Kind of interesting, an interesting story about this. I remember telling you about when his body was found in his flat, had piles of money all around him. Well, there was a myth that went round that he'd been buried with all his riches, and unfortunately the grave was dug up in the middle of the night by grave robbers searching for his loot. The church came and found the grave was dug up in the morning, the coffin was left just here. So he was reburied, and he's actually buried under here in a block of cement, so nobody can dig him up again. But here we are, Benny Hill's final resting place, back in Southampton, his hometown.